great way to remember the truth about yourself in life, isn't it? Yeah. So every day is a holy day. I enjoy doing talks and messages around this time of year because it's a very fruitful time of year for getting honest with myself. It's a very fruitful time of year for growing. And so somewhere along the line I decided, well, let's just paint this red. Let's just be really honest about it and apply the principles that we use and talk about all year long and get the most out of this time of year. And so I get to have the clicker now. So every day is a holy day. And there are a lot of different tones that one can use saying that. That might come from the position of, why is there such a fuss about this season? Why is there such a fuss about this time of year? Why is there such a fuss about a certain day? You know, in the Christian tradition, in the mainstream Christian tradition, it's suggested that we're celebrating the birth of Christ in 3 weeks. Now, if you want to be really bold, go hang out with someone who will say on a Sunday morning, my old teacher, wearing her red dress, look out, he was probably born in April anyhow. Right? And yet, instead of protesting, instead of saying, well, who cares? We have this opportunity, it's everywhere, to embrace something. We have this opportunity to allow what's being brought to our attention to invite us to grow. So first of all, I don't know if any of you saw the Facebook post, but there's a big picture of Allen Ginsberg with his horn-rimmed glasses, and I thought, well, we're not going to stare at him all morning, so I just put the quote up there. But Allen Ginsberg, famous beat poet, said everything is holy, everybody's holy, everywhere is holy, every day is an eternity, and every man's an angel. And by the way, that applies to women and children and all living things, right? Everyone. There is no spot where God is not, right? Here is something from, this is from, I forgot to put it on there, oops. Neil Donald Walsh, Conversations with God, Book 3, okay? And I have a funny story about this one because I tried my best to design, what do you call it, a wood block print. I thought, that's it, one holiday season, I decided I'm going to take all of these words and manually or womanly lay them out in concentric circles. And then I'm going to sketch them, I'm going to transfer that onto my block and get the tiniest chisel I can find and carve out every letter, and I'm going to print it, and it'll be a lovely card, right? I did the whole thing backwards. Just a little bit of dyslexia. So somewhere, I guess I finally parted with it. I have this beautiful backwards, block print. I should have just put the block on the wall, because that you could read that one, of this phrase in the circular pattern. But I love how this encapsulates what we teach. It says, what you think, you create, right? What you create, you become. What you become, you express. What you express, you experience. What you experience, you are. What you are, you think. The circle is complete. Isn't that great? It's a little bit long for memorizing, but it's a really good one for your refrigerator, let me tell you. Really good. So we have this idea then that the holidays are here, right? And the truth, of course, is that there are other days of the year that are holy. And there are other holidays outside of the ones that we have lumped together and told each other that we're focusing on and celebrating right now. Thanksgiving came and went. Thank goodness that was the easy one. That's just mostly about calories and not much else, Although post-election Thanksgiving, some might have either, just talk about the food, right? And what's coming up now, though, are these other things. What's coming up now is Christmas Day, and the beginning of Hanukkah on the same day. We have New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And by the way, in the middle, we have the winter solstice. And then we have Kwanzaa now. And that is not including all of the other pasts that we recognize and honor. That's not including Islam. That's not including what the Native Americans are celebrating. That's not including all kinds of other things, right? I can never remember all of them, but there's Jainism and Zoroastrianism and there's Buddhism and there's all kinds of isms, right? And so what we really know is that every day is a holy day. Every day is a holy day. And why are we looking at this, though? We're looking at this because it's up to us what we believe, right? What we think about the holidays is what we create about the holidays. And what we create about the holidays is how they become for us, because it's how we become for them, right? And what we become, we express, so it's going to be what we say about the holidays. And what we say about the holidays is going to be what we experience. Oh, interesting. If you just plug this in, it's like a formula, right? And what we experience is what we are. It's what we take on as our I am, right? And then what we take on as our I am, what we've arrived at as our beingness, is what we think, and the whole thing starts over again. So, you don't have to raise your hands, but are there a few people in the room who look to this time of year with a little bit of dread? Okay. Maybe if I just breathe and pretend and keep moving, it'll all be over soon. You know what I love? I love Thanksgiving and I love New Year's. I love journaling by myself. When I lived up north, it would be by a wood fire after everyone else had gone to bed. Oh man, that's my ultimate New Year's experience, is reflection and moving with purpose into the new year. The other stuff, not so much. Do you know anybody who finishes all their Christmas shopping in August and has to tell you about it? I used to know people like that. They're very excited. You know, they plan and they budget, they get it all done, and then they just sit back and smile, right? So God bless them. What if you were one of those people who began your life as a child with Christmas being magical, or Hanukkah being really, really spectacular, and then your parents got divorced? Maybe somebody got very ill and died. Maybe there was a big turn, a change in the economic status of your family or the whole country, such that the way that you used to celebrate began to fall apart. Perhaps you didn't know who to spend that day with, and mom and dad did the best they could do was just, not fight. It happens to a lot of us. I don't know what the statistics are, but I have a feeling that even if all of us started out with sparkly, twinkly, magical holidays, that there came a point in our lives where that changed. And so what happened? What we thought about them changed. And what we created for the holidays changed. And what we became changed. What we expressed changed. And what we experienced changed. And now who we are is different. And we got a different cycle going on. And we still have time. We still have 3 weeks. We still have 3 weeks to have a different experience. We've been doing this 66-day challenge, and I remember, sometime 2 weeks ago in the middle of the week, I was like, oh my goodness, halfway, day 33, of remembering to do 2 things each day that really escort me into my own wholeness. And then I added another process. I decided 40 days and 40 nights of the Ho'oponopono forgiveness process, ending on Christmas / the first day of Hanukkah, would provide a transformation in me that would be useful in my experience, in my relationship with people. Talk about opening a can of worms. Don't stop halfway through, because we're halfway there and you've already begun, and now is the time, and you've called the universe into action and might as well keep going, right? So that's been very interesting. All kinds of miracles and lots of discomfort and more miracles and on and on and on. Why? Because I want to change what I think. I want to change what I create and become, what I express and experience, who I am. I want a new cycle. And so I am guilty of being one of those people for whom the holidays used to be magical. And then my parents got divorced. And then nobody wanted to even talk about it. Nobody even wanted to experience that. Thank goodness, the first Science of Mind minister I ever met said, when you can't hide it, paint it red. Am I shocked and amazed that every year when this time comes around, I can't seem to find a place that's open to have a candlelight service on Christmas Eve? No, I'm not shocked. I'm not amazed. I'm fully aware. And I'm thinking, okay, let's clean this up so that I can be a choice about what I experience and offer in my relationship to other people around this time. I'm painting this red. I am part of an old cycle that came out of how my view of the holidays changed. And so what did I do? I thought, well, let's just pretend it's not happening. The thing is that our feelings, Ernest Holmes, are an unmistakable indicator of our beliefs. And when we bury our beliefs, we bury them in living color. Do you know that today's thought becomes tomorrow's memory? Today's thought becomes tomorrow's memory, and it's still creative. So that's what this is about, burying them in living color. They are still drawing to us our experience. My dear husband Rick and I have been plotting and planning how we will experience the holidays, including the possibilities of a geographical cure. This place is closed on Christmas Day, so we're like, and we have a staff minister who will be back next week. He's in Colorado right now. And so we started realizing, oh my goodness, we could go like in a modern sleigh ride. We could just go. It's been so long. And so we might go on a trip. And the moment that I thought about that, a lot of wonderful things opened up. A dear friend in North Carolina whose husband passed a year ago said, I've been hoping that you could come in December to help me scatter his ashes at the mouth of this river. And he and she and myself and my former partner started a Science of Mind Center many years ago in North Carolina. So this is a special guy who stood by and made all of that happen. So how interesting that I opened up to new possibility and somebody said, I hope you would come in. So something great's happening. We're not saying that what happens right now is anything but good. But what we are saying is that if we have feelings about the holidays, remember that they're an unmistakable indicator of our beliefs. And if we have buried our beliefs, perhaps from something not being so great, remember that we have buried them in living color, and what happens is that they get to be resolved. Because why? Because what we think we create. Whether we're aware of them or not, our dominant beliefs are always the ones that manifest. And when they do manifest, we'll know what they are. How about that? Any of us, we've been in Science of Mind classes, right? You've been on one of those weeks where they talk about hidden beliefs, and somebody says, but how do you know if they're hidden? That's the $64 question. You'll know all right. Because the gift of the way that this all works is that what we believe does show up. Our dominant belief does manifest. And it so beautifully and perfectly reveals to us what we're actually ready to resolve. What we're actually ready to resolve. So I have found in this signing on for everyday forgiveness and every day cleaning up my relationships is that first it got darker before it got bright. And first it got heavier before it got light. And first it got harder before it got easier. And I'm not done. I've experienced so much discomfort, and I know who to reach out to. I know who to reach out to help me to remember that this is perfection going on, right? You may have to do this. You may have to parent your inner child and say, listen, honey, this is temporary. I know it feels like it's going to go on forever. I know it feels like this is a permanent state of ugliness, and it's not. It's just right now. And it's going to be okay. I hear you, and it's going to be okay. So I've been taking big risks. Oh my God, telling the truth, being authentic, risking not being liked. Oh, what happened? I'll tell you, a quote from the Course in Miracles has really been carrying me, and that's that nothing real can be destroyed. Nothing unreal exists. Therein lies the peace of God. So what if you are stepping into the holidays with family members that you prefer not to spend a whole lot of time with, maybe, and you're stepping in, remembering, you know what I think I create. And what I create, I become what I become, I express what I express, I experience what I experience, I am, and what I am, I think. So what am I going to take to that gathering? What am I going to take into that relationship? We still have time to decide what that is. So the truth of the matter is that everything, everybody, everywhere, every day, every man, woman, child, and living thing is holy. Every day. Every day. Everything. Everyone. All the time. All the time. So what do we do with that then? What do we do with that? I'm going to back up to this thing again, right here, which I love so much. We have this opportunity. We've got 3 weeks till Christmas and Hanukkah. A little less time to the winter solstice. A little more time until the eve of the new year. Just to name a few. We have this beautiful stretch from December 26th through January 2nd, 6th, I can't remember. Kwanzaa.
January
1st. Okay. And so, what a wonderful array of opportunities to be deliberate, to be ceremonious, to be bold in how we choose to show up. It's quite a carpet ride, isn't it? It's quite a carpet ride. I was just saying, when you can't hide it, you paint it red. Right? I love that. That man preached that to me when I was 23 or 24 years old, and it stuck. And not a lot stuck from that time period. But that did. Because that says it's okay. That's okay if you make a mistake. And I was talking about how our feelings are an unmistakable indicator of our beliefs, and when we bury our beliefs, we bury them in living color. Think about that. Are you one of those people who's finished all your shopping and you're just sort of sitting back and laughing at everyone else? I doubt it. Okay. Are you like me? And your view of the holidays has been muddied. It's been shifted from the magical to something else, where you're hoping to get away with just pretending that it's not happening. And yet the universe loves you so much, you'll never get away with that. Right? I'm painting it red. I'm painting it red, that's me. Ernest Holmes says to identify and remove the complex. That all dis-ease is the result of a complex. So what if your inner child would still love for these days to be magical, and your grown-up, jaded adult says, nah, it'll never ever be magical again? That's the complex. how do you remove it? Choose what you think. Create a new cycle. Therefore, choose what you create. Because what you create, you become, you express, experience, you are, what you are, you think, and you got a new cycle. Right? Remember, it doesn't take that much to create a habit. That's what the 66-day challenge has been about. That's what the 40 days and 40 nights of transformation are about. That's what the 3 weeks or 21 days or 28 days can be about. Whatever it is, you can start now. It is not necessary that we be hostage to those unhealed conflicts, those unresolved grievances. It is not necessary that we be held hostage by those things that aren't that hard to clean up. They may simply involve our getting in touch with our feelings. They simply involve recognizing that something that was alive in us got buried. And we can unearth it and give it life again. And then we end up with new dominant beliefs that are in alignment with what we dream of and desire. And there's no longer such a contrast between how we'd like to be living and how life is showing up for us. I have discovered that one of my most developed neural pathways is being sad. Devastated, maybe even more dramatic than that. And lately what I say to myself is, even though you're really good at doing that, doesn't mean that you have to. So we can create new neural pathways. We do it all the time with any repetition. Why not repeat that everything is holy? That everybody is holy, that everywhere is holy, that every day is holy, that every man, woman, child, and living thing is holy every day. Why not do that? Nonviolent communication teaches us to identify what we value, which means to identify what has meaning for us, to start there. That tells us what our needs are. And then we're encouraged to communicate those needs by making requests in our relationships with other people. And we're encouraged to invite them to do the same thing. And then everybody comes from what matters to them most. We support one another in living that way. Yeah, it's scary asking for what you need. It doesn't have to be. Like anything else in practice, until it's not an issue anymore. And the other thing that we can do is look for the good and praise it. Look for what we have in common with people. And I don't mean I like you because you're just like me, right? I mean I love you because we're made from the same stuff. The universal commonalities. When we look for the universal commonalities, we will always discover holiness. We will always discover holiness. So I'm just going to invite you to take a moment with me. Close your eyes. And just bring into your mind's eye a circumstance or a scenario that you're either anticipating or in the middle of, that could use a little bit of this healing. And get out your metaphysical paintbrush and paint it red. And remember that red is the color of power and red is the color of love. And recognize that the universe, the activity of the law, is perfectly bringing this to your attention because it's the perfect time for it to be healed. And see and know that whatever this relationship is, that it is safe and natural and necessary to to identify what has meaning and value to you. It shows you what you need, what to ask for in life. And it is essential that you ask for it in order that you can be who you came here to be. Imagine doing this and giving this gift to others in your relationship with them. This could be the greatest gift that you give or receive this holiday season. And recognize that when you look for the good and praise it, when you look for those universal commonalities, you will find holiness in everybody, in everything, no matter what. No matter what. And so what I know is that holiness is all there is. And we are one with it, made by it, out of it, in its image and likeness. Therefore, I know that holiness is our dominant experience. It is our primary modus operandi. And I know that it informs every one of our relationships. And because this is so, I know that each of us is a gift to this world. And all are gifts to us. Because every day is a holy day. And so I release my word knowing that this is so. And together, as we open our eyes, we say,
and so it is.
Namaste. The light in me recognizes and honors the light in you.